Mind Ray's guide. And this is a little embarrassing. I'm actually here a day early. I think I was thrown off by the fact the convention center schedule showed the hall being rented today for Citizencon, which it is. And there's lots of CIG people here and lots of people from the various vendors, because today is going to be dedicated to setup and rehearsals. And so I was a bit mistaken. I thought it was a Friday, Saturday event instead of a Saturday, Sunday event. Fortunately, since I'm local, it's cost me nothing but the electricity to drive here and the parking. So I'm going to make use of it. As they say, every screw up is an opportunity, and if they don't say that, they say it now, because it may just become my new motto. Along with, I'm having fun already, and I am having fun. No matter what goes wrong, no matter if my phone refuses positively to go into YouTube in horizontal mode, I'm going to have fun here. And it looks like things are, if they're taking a full day to rehearse it and a full day to set it up, hopefully it will go off smoother than my attempts at live streaming. Anyhow, so since I am here, paid for parking and everything, as I said, we'll go a bit around the event venue here. As I said, this is the West Hall entrance. To the south is the South Hall entrance. That's the larger of the two. And it is, if you go there, you're going to be seeing the North American Spine Society. So you can definitely tell the people that are showing up here for the Spine Society meeting versus Citizencon. None of the Citizencon people are wearing suits. Continuing around, you have Figueroa Street, the Moxie. These are all very new buildings that have gone up really just in the last several years. A lot of foreign money behind them. And then you come around here, and this giant structure used to be called Staples Center. It is now Crypto.com Arena. And considering the crypto market, I'm not sure if that's going to last anywhere near as long as the many years that this was called and known as Staples Center. Continuing around, if you're visiting around Staples Center, Crypto.com Arena, to either side is LA Live, which is it's kind of LA's version of Times Square. One thing you will notice here, you don't see it right now, but these black billboards on this building, at night they are full-size advertisements. Those black screens are LED panels. You can kind of get a hint of it there with the little walking Nike logo. But at night, when those screens light up full white or something, this whole area is really bathed in bright light. Those screens are very bright, and it gives quite a dynamism to this plaza in front here. So you can go around Crypto.com Arena in either direction. I'm going to head towards the Figueroa side. So if you start to hear some traffic noise, that's going to be it. To keep the West Hall entrance in my background. The convention center area has really seen a metamorphosis in the last couple decades or so. It used to be that this area, you could shoot a cannon off at night, and if you hit anyone, it would be a homeless person. Not that there aren't still homeless people in Los Angeles. In fact, there's quite a number of them. It's a hi. We're going live.
Hi.
Consolidated Land. As I said, everyone that's here today is in some way or other involved with the vendor booths or the Cloud Imperium group themselves. I saw quite a bit of things. And so as you can see, a lot of these buildings along Figueroa Street, right across from the convention center, are still going up. This one here has been in construction for quite a number of years. It was held up because of problems in international financing, such as the case with urban large-scale developments. So as I said, this is Crypto.com arena behind me. Now, I confirmed that tomorrow is the LA Bruins game. Los Angeles Kings versus the Boston Bruins. So the security guy said that this side of the arena doesn't get quite as busy as the LA Live side of the arena, but still expect a whole lot of hockey jerseys, and also expect that if you're being picked up or dropped off by a rideshare driver, that this is probably one of the worst venues in Los Angeles. Speaking from firsthand experience, this is one of the worst venues to actually be dropped off at for rideshare, because the entire Figueroa Street side here, you'll see, is red curbing. Yet everybody wants to walk out here, stand in front of the red curbing, and be picked up. And so it tends to get backed up. My suggestion, honestly, if you want to be picked up or dropped off here at rideshare, is to go to one of the hotels, the Marriott or the Ritz-Carlton, and just call for your rideshare from there. And then you'll have a nice, safe place out of the traffic for your rideshare driver to meet you and for you to meet your rideshare driver. Again, this is all Crypto.com arena. And north from Crypto.com arena, you have what's called LA Live. And that's going to be a great place to hang out, except right before the hockey game, of course, you can expect the bars at LA Live to be packed. But still, it might be fun. LA Live is also the home of what used to be called the Microsoft Theater. It's now called the the Peacock Theater. I knew it was named after one of the new streaming services. I knew it started with P. It's now called the Peacock Theater. It used to be called the Microsoft Theater, and before that it was called the Nokia Theater. But that's where the Academy Awards happen. Also, inside of LA Live, if you're here early, or you're going to be late, is the Grammy Museum, the Museum of Popular Music. That might be a way to spend some time. Also, if you have time in Los Angeles, all sorts of things are great to see. But right here downtown, you have the Broad Museum of Modern Art. It's just up Grand Street, which is like 2 streets over. Is the MoCA, the Contemporary Art Museum, the Broad Museum on Grand Museum. So again, there's a number of very nice modern art museums in downtown Los Angeles itself. There's a great Keith Haring exhibition going on at the Broad, and across the street, another exhibition is going on. Gosh, and the name slips me, but a very popular modern artist. Keith Haring, I think. Anyhow, so there's a lot to do in downtown, which is an amazing thing, because as I said, when I was young, downtown was a place where everybody left at 5 p.m. in their cars, and you never saw anybody. But now this place is going to be very hopping at nighttime. We're coming around to LA Live. One of the more popular locations at LA Live is Tom's Watch Bar, which has nothing to do with watches. It's called a watch bar because they've got all the screens and all the sports. So it's basically a sports event, and it's called a watch bar because this is where you go to watch things. Get it? So it's a watch bar. There's Lazy Dog, there's Fleischmann's Steakhouse, Katsuya, Yard House is on the opposite side. There's Peacock Place is the name of the arena. Here's the main entrance of Crypto.com. And there's some big statues here. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. These great bronzes of popular It's kind of a location of an LA Sports Hall of Fame. Wayne Gretzky, Oscar De La Hoya. Over there, we just seen a moment ago, Magic Johnson. Very popular local. You see a lot of amateur murals of Magic Johnson around town after he passed away. Some more skilled than others. Jerry West. You have to be a real old timer to remember Jerry. Actually, it was kind of even before my time. A very creative statue placement here of Shaq. Larger than life, but doing exactly what he was famous for in life, slamming. So there's the Shaquille O'Neal. Wayne Gretzky again. So if you're here early, whether you wanted to or not, this is the place to hang out. Further to the north are most of the big hotels, the LA Grand, the JW Marriott, the tall one there is the Ritz-Carlton. One of my favorite Los Angeles hotels, Hotel Indigo, is just a little further north. You can't necessarily see it here. It's hidden behind the building. Continuing around, we have Chick Hearn, famous broadcaster for the Lakers. It's kind of a neat statue because it's got a chair. And you can sit here and take a selfie of yourself talking with Chick Hearn about the Lakers this year. He is color man. Actually, he was usually the color man. He was colorful enough on his own. Bob Mueller. Another famous broadcaster. And Dustin Brown. So quite an interesting forecourt here to Crypto.com Arena. Yes, there is a Kobe. We did pass it. It was one of the first ones we saw. Am I a civil or network architect? The actual answer to that is both. My training is in architecture. My degree is in architecture from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. But I spent a lot of my career doing computer applications and computer network monitoring and design. And so very much I could be considered an architect in both sense of the term. I can play, I guess you can say I can play in both courts.
Yeah, that's great. I don't know if I can...
Well, I didn't want to, honestly, Morph does such a good job with his architectural critiques that one of the things I decided to do when I started my channel was to not deliberately do design critiques because there'd be too much comparison. I'd be feeling too much like I was trying to muscle in on Murph's turf. Actually, I'm told that Morphologist is going to be at the show. It would be cool if I could spend some time with him, trade notes. I do often talk about design issues, and I'm considering starting, because I do love playing City Skylines, where I do some videos discussing design issues, urban design issues, from the standpoint of playing City Skylines too, because that's coming out in just, I believe, 3 days. It's coming out on Monday, the 24th. I've already pre-bought my copy. So there's always a question when I start a new game whether I want to do content on it or not. I can't do content on every game. I can't do content on everything. I tried to do content on doing rideshare. I tried to do content on being an EV. Both of those sort of fell flat on their asses because there's just too much content on that already, and I had no particularly unique angle. Managing the YouTube algorithm is not an easy thing. What is Ray's in-character opinion on a power system? Well, Ray's just gonna love being there. This kind of place where a freewheeling guy can do freewheeling things. Did things get straightened out? I did get straightened out that the show starts tomorrow. Did someone say that there was a Bar Citizen tonight? I might see if I can hang out there. At least do some pre-coverage. I do tend to get into, I think, the nuts and bolts. I mean, I'm not when I discuss things, I try to get into the nuts and bolts of using them. And so I do think of it as an engineer's perspective, I think. Anyhow, so this is the convention center. I don't know how many of you are going to be watching it, watching the show versus actually being here. If you are here, you can see my getup. I got the Panama hat and the gold shirt, so I should be easy to find in the crowd. I've already had a few guys showing up, giving me a wave, seeing the voice, seeing the hat, and whatever. So I'm really looking forward to meeting some of the people that have, getting to know them face to face and voice to voice, the way they know me. And so does anyone have anything you want to bring up? The Bar Citizen is tomorrow at 6:30. Okay, so 6:30, that's interesting because the show venue doesn't close until 7. So you would have to rush to the Bar Citizen. Did you know where the Bar Citizen where the Bar Citizen is happening tomorrow? Now, Squadron 42 releasing this year. My opinion on that is a very definite maybe. I think that if they're smart, if CIG is smart, and generally I regard them as smart, they will not give a date. What they will give tomorrow is a process. We're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And if they start, so that when you start to see those things happening, it will build confidence. Because right now, I think the community, and even beyond the community, the general gaming press, is highly skeptical of release dates. Not simply because CIG has missed so many of them, but because the gaming industry as a whole tends to miss them with quite regularity. Starfield was put off for a full year after they had an announcement date, and while everyone was hoping it would be there'd be benefit from doing that, and it was for a Bethesda game relatively stable, but in general the opinion on Starfield is that the gameplay is not up to Bethesda's standards, or the best of Bethesda. I would think it would be great if they were targeting holiday 2024 for Squadron going live. But again, I don't think they want to make promises. If it isn't a Q3 patch, well, a Q3 release date with a Q4 patch, expect it to probably be a summer release rather than a summer 25 release. But they want to, I think they want to, in this Citizencon, change the narrative. The narrative right now is whether it will ever come out. And if they can change the narrative from whether it's going to come out to when it's going to come out, or that it is coming out, they will have accomplished what they would want to do. And again, I said that the big picture goal for Citizencon this year is to steal the spotlight back from Bethesda. Bethesda got the spotlight. They didn't really do as well with it as they should have, or people expected to. It's certainly, Starfield is certainly not going to win Game of the Year award. It's going to maybe be 4th or 5th place at best in the voting for Game of the Year. My prediction, you can write me, put this one down, is that Baldur's Gate 3 will win Game of the Year. It is just, it is great, and it is not only that, it's groundbreaking in its genre. Again, as I said, Holiday 24 makes sense. That gives them from this 1 year to build the hype, and that's usually the time frame for doing a pre-release build-up. Again, I have no information. This is traditionally what companies like to do. They like to do a 1 year gradual build-up of the promotion machine. I would love to be a part of it. I know it's always tricky how much you want to let people know, but it's very frustrating as a content creator to not have, I don't want to call it a head start, because you do have embargo dates. You can't actually release your content early, not without endangering your reputations with the vendors. But so, for example, I'm able to plan my Citizencon coverage, even though I don't release anything before the game is actually live, but I'm able to plan it so much because I'm able to see what it's going to be in Evocati. And so the Evocati experience is very useful, even though I'm not actually covering the game while it's in Evocati. It gives you a chance to plan it. And so you could tell the companies, the reviewers that had, for example, a couple of months to play with Starfield before it came out, because they just had huge reviews available on the first day, which puts everybody that doesn't have that insider status at a great disadvantage. So I would hope, if anyone at CIG listens and hears this, I'll keep my lips shut. But if I can be ready, if I can basically be part of the early beta testing, I will create some great day one content. But and if they're wise, they're going to do that. I have no idea whether they will or not. So yeah, I'm expecting Pyro. I'm expecting Pyro to be. We will be playing Pyro in a isolated state. In other words, we won't be having server meshing up, but we'll just have Pyro as a standalone single system. Because if you get the chance to play in Pyro, is anybody, literally anybody, going to want to? Oh, let's get in the jump tunnel and go back to Stanton. No, if you've got 10 minutes to play in Pyro, which may be probably all we get in that hands-on room, but 10 minutes to play in Pyro, you're going to spend 10 minutes in Pyro. So we'll probably be playing on a shard that only has Pyro, so we won't necessarily have server meshing. But I believe we will have server meshing in the PTU, not in live, but in PTU by the end of the year. And a large part of the determinant of that will be how quickly and in which 3.21.x, because I suspect 3.21.1 will contain the ships and stuff, and will be timed for having those ships and things be ready for flyable sails at IAE. So expect a 3.21.1 at the IAE, or just before the IAE. and then expect a 3.21.2 being the full replication layer test. And the big question is whether that happens, how soon that happens after the IAE. If it happens pretty quickly after the IAE, then they will probably have enough time to have and it tests well, another very important thing, and it tests well, there will probably be time to have the 3.21, whether it's, have there not be a 3.21.3, but rather have 4.0 in the PTU by the end of the year. That's an aggressive schedule, and a lot of it depends on how soon and how stable 3.21.2 is. And oh yeah, the SRV. That, as you see in my other video, that I think the SRV is just going to be a complete game changer. Oh, by the way, Ray's last name is Gunn. Yeah, I know, terrible pun. Of course, it kind of fits the character. So that's what I am. You know, the thing I am most looking forward to would be being able to play in Pyro. I would really love to see an announcement of a release schedule and a release time frame for Squadron 42. There's still the big question for me right now is that big 2-hour block tomorrow afternoon going to be filled with something, or are they just going to let us have our turns at playing in Pyro? I'm still betting behind there being some big event during those 2 hours, a surprise event during those 2 hours. And since they've already tipped their hand that Pyro is going to be hands-on, I suspect that the thing that they're really keeping a surprise on is going to be Squadron 42. And the thing that would absolutely blow me away is if they had some walk-ons by some of the cast members. I mean, could you imagine how wild the crowd would go tomorrow if they had a Mark Hamill walk-on? I mean, that would just be, bonkers. Now, that's not a promise, that's just speculation, but I think that would be bonkers. Do you think I have the save state working before the end of the year? Well, if they don't have the save state working, they don't have replication layer working. And if they don't have replication layer working, then we can certainly put off 4.0 and Pyro until, again, Mark Hamill is what I said, right? Yeah, Hamill would be dope. Even anybody else of the major cast members as a walk-on would be dope. And Chris has worked with them Chris, the Wing Commander series gave Mark Hamill the job, basically, during the time that his career was kind of in a slump after the second trilogy. If you remember, after the second trilogy, Mark wasn't getting a lot of roles, and so he may have a long-standing relationship with Chris as a result. So it would not be out of the realm of possibility, and definitely dope if they had a walk-on with some of the cast members. Yeah. Well, again, that's what they're trying to do with the replication layer is monster, and a whole new data model. Very few companies would be brave enough to swap out. Mark does has a lot of VO work. Again, the VO work, particularly on like the Batman series, is what filled in until they started the third trilogy. The swapping out of the data layer for the Antigraph database, that's been huge, and it's hopefully finally going to pay off. The other thing that was huge was creating their own engine, the Star engine, And the first thing we'll see tomorrow is going to be their, I guess you call it their big public debut of the Star engine as a very important component of the whole thing. They've never done a session strictly on the Star engine. Yeah, if the ND graph doesn't handle the replication layer as it should, we can probably expect that it will put a lid on our shard size pretty much forever. Yeah, well, cloud services are always based, the variance on cloud service is almost always a matter of your line congestion. It's inherent in the problem. Sorry, I have no idea how to read Cyrillic. So, tomorrow, actually, apart from that mystery 4th, 5 p.m. Panel, the thing I'm most interested in is the Star engine panel, because that's where we're going to be hearing some of the, looking under the covers of something that we haven't really been able to look under the covers as much before. I don't really know. I don't think anybody has come out and said what is the replication layer graph database that they're using. My presumption had always been that they were using something called Amazon Neptune, because that is Amazon's big dog in the graph database engine field. Well, Star Engine is already a part of the game. We've been running on Star Engine for a long time. So it's really kind of the... Oh, why am I so knowledgeable in this field? I have had a weird life career. And my primary job coming out of college was as an architect here in Los Angeles. Worked on a number of projects, most notably LAX, adding the second level United Airlines terminal. Then the Carter recession hit. Now, architecture is a very cyclical industry. And so the only people that were hiring architects during the Carter recession was a company that was starting a computer-aided design service bureau for architects. CAD at that point in time ran on big file cabinet-sized machines that cost 6 figures easily. And so this company was thinking architects can't afford these systems, so we will just be a service bureau to them. And that kept me employed through the Carter recession. But I always knew that was a business model that was certain to eventually fail. So after that, I went and worked, since still nobody was particularly hiring, I went and worked for the company that made the computers, helping to sell them to architects. And then from there, I went into computers in general. So my career path has been architecture to computers to networking to doing this, and basically being semi-retired. It was CryEngine, yes. They started off in CryEngine. CryEngine couldn't handle it, and it did not work well under Amazon. So when Amazon bought CryEngine and turned it into Lumberyard, CIG switched over. But even when it was in CryEngine, CIG was already having to do things with 64 versus 32-bit precision. And because of that, and they moved that, and so Star Engine was already born before it became moved over to Lumberyard. When CIG switched from CryEngine to Lumberyard, which really wasn't much of a switch, they moved over all of the modifications they had made to CryEngine and made them modifications into Lumberyard. So Star Engine was already in works. And the main thing about Star Engine is the size of the data set that it can handle. All the important stuff in Star Engine is 64-bit. And that's how come we can go from such a small level of detail on the planet up to traveling between planets seamlessly, is because the data set is 64-bit. And what engine you have is important. Everybody whines about Starfield's loading screens. But also everyone that knows says that the reason why all those loading screens exist is because they are limited by the creation engine. How big a difference do I expect Vulkan to make in the game? Principally, I think Vulkan will improve performance, but the main thing Vulkan is going to do is going to allow, once they start optimizing it, we're going to start to see stuff like ray tracing and some of the advanced features that really didn't exist back 10 years ago. So you're going to see a lot more in terms of efficiency with things, with reflections and realistic light models and stuff. And so that, I think, it's going to be partially performance, and secondarily, partially performance, but primarily, it's going to be able to be used the very latest features of the very latest graphics cards. That's what Vulkan's going to get us. Vulkan is it's the golden child right now of graphics engines. It's where DirectX was, 10 years ago. It's just hitting its stride as the language everybody learns on in terms of doing graphics programs. And so even though Vulkan has great cross-platform compatibility, that's not why CIG is going with it. They're going with it because it supports all the neat new features of graphics cards, and because it's the one that all the best talent out there in terms of graphics graphics programmers, they know what to use. Am I refer you to my previous question vis-a-vis the preview channel and PTU? I believe I'm not sure exactly what your previous question, it must have scrolled by. I believe that it may not be called the PTU, but the preview channel is basically going to be the PTU. CIG has the ability to set up, additional server channels. So right now we have ePTU, which is principally for eVicati, but they have occasionally used it as in other PTUs. You have ePTU, PTU, and Live, but there's nothing that says that they're limited to 3. I'm an Angelino. I always have been. And so the preview channel will either be a renaming of the PTU or ePTU, or repurposing of them, or they may just create a 4th one. Could be anything. The question was, would they be different? It depends. If they need to still be testing 3.21.x, they will probably be having the pre-testing the 3.21.x in the PTU, and they might just rename the ePTU into the preview channel. Or they may just give it, or they may just create a whole new one. Again, I don't think there's a lot of extra overhead in creating a particular channel. So for example, tomorrow in Pyro, I don't know if they're going to be doing that in the ePTU, or if they're just going to create a whole other one. They may be, even for tomorrow in Pyro, be creating a 4th one, and just using that for us to be in tomorrow. If the preview, I don't think, it depends. If you have the ability in your contract with AWS to allocate where resources go, if they purchase a contract for additional resources specifically for the preview channel, they won't necessarily have to take them from something else. Honestly, I suspect that they may be. So I suspect that in cases when the PTU tanks live, it's because they've reallocated